Welcome to Cardboard Conjecture's Show and Tell, an overview and review of Maquis in 15 minutes. Maquis, designed by Jake Staines and published by Side Room Games. Maquis is a one-player game, plays 30 minutes, and in Maquis, you are a member of the Resistance, a small band of freedom fighters attempting to dismantle the Nazi occupation of France during World War II. The Axis-controlled government has installed a paramilitary unit called La Milice, tasked with policing the populace and fighting the resistance. Should the resistance prove to be formidable, the government will not hesitate to call in the German military to stamp out dissent. You have 15 days to complete 2 missions before the occupation discovers you. If successful, the resistance has won. However, if the town's morale drops to 0 or all 15 days run out, the occupation succeeds in crushing the resistance. Engage the Nazi occupation of France in une petite guerre to throw off the yoke of oppression and free your homeland. Welcome to Show and Tell, an overview of Maquis in 15 minutes, where I show you the game and then I tell you what I think. So let's get to it. The game is right here in front of me, as you can see. It is, a pretty cool looking game. As mentioned, as far as the theme goes, this is World War II. You are playing the French Resistance. And I'm just going to get to it and go from the outside in, as I always do on Cardboard Conjecture. And let's look at the box cover, because I always say you eat with your eyes. And I quite enjoy what they've prepared here for me. I look at, first of all, the art style, and the art style to me is very reminiscent of what I would consider art from that era, right? And I'm only going on my subjective opinion of when I grew up reading comics, and those comics talking about World War II. That was very much the style of the art back then. There's clues on here, right? We have some people hiding. The guns. You've got this espionage feel. The darkness evokes a lot of that hidden spy, and of course you can't miss that big French flag and the resistance symbol on the top there. So it's about a 5 by 8 inch box by an inch and a half, small box game. So yay, very good introduction for me at least, and I have a very kind of subjective point of view being a history teacher. The subject matter is compelling. So let's continue on. The components, as you see, the straightforward components, you have your wooden bits, your meeples. These are your French resistance fighters, your milice, and your patrol or soldiers. These are just item cubes. Now, good cards, good card board. Some half decent chunky bits, right? If chunky, that's a good word. What I do appreciate the most, though, even on such a smaller scale, I would say that I'm impressed with the fact that these boards are double layered, so that, as you can see here, they're double layered so that you can have your counters just kind of socket in there. Same thing with this main board. I mean, it's a small little board, right? But it has a double layer quality to it, if you can see. There we go. And there are 3 locations, 1, 2, 3, the spare rooms, if you can see there. They have recessed places for these rooms. Okay, we'll get into that later. So the components, great. The rule book reads great. It's pretty straightforward in regards to explaining to you the step-by-step process and the format of the system. I didn't have any complaints at all with it. There were I'm a big fan all the time. Well, here, have a look. I'm a big fan all the time of good separation, foreground to background. I don't like eye fatigue when it comes to being a school teacher. I don't like eye fatigue when it comes to reading content. And they did a great job on creating a situation where visually it's formatted in such a manner that I can easily follow the flow. Everything's titled. No complaints. Game system. In essence, this is a worker placement game, right? You start with your workers in the safe house, and as you here, I'll get you a little closer. Shaky cam, courtesy of Cardboard Conjecture. Okay, as you see, you start off in the safe house, and it's a worker placement. You get to go to all these locations, and from these locations, like a worker placement, you receive something or you trade something. But in this case, I'm not only going to say that this game system is a worker placement, because in essence, what you're trying to accomplish is, worker placement, finding resources associated with the next mechanism, which is the recipe building or missions. Because if you look up top here, you have 2 missions, and these cards, okay, these cards here represent the missions. Now, there's great variability in the cards because there are 4 or 5 first levels, 6 second levels, and 4 third levels. And I believe there's 2 introductory missions to accomplish. I was going to say this being one of them. Yeah, right here. This being one of them, right? No star on the back. Okay. And it's pretty much you connect it to the top of the road. I'll back this camera up a little bit. Right? You connect it to the top of the road, and you have 2 mission points. In a game, you'll have your cards like that. Now, this right there tells me that there's some fantastic variability in this, because in my little geeky head, I've already constructed potential campaigns thematically because I know the backstory of this time period. Okay. So worker placement, yes. Mission fulfillment or recipe building, yes. Network. Oh my, route building, right? Another mechanism, because as you can see, in essence, what happens is you take your turns going out, and here's the patrol deck. Okay. This is how the AI works. And I'll get a little bit closer to that, but the AI flips a card over, and that's their first selection. There's their second selection. There's their third selection. If they run through and all of those selections are taken, then the second time that they go through, they're making arrests. And that's when your meeple comes off the board. And I'll talk to that. I'll come to that with the uniqueness of this. So, yeah, you need to basically cover your tracks. If you can have a contiguous line or an uninterrupted contiguous line back to your safe house, that resistance fighter gets back with the resources. There are certain cases, if you see these shields with the orange shields with the white stars, those are situations where if you've paid the resources, regardless of your resistance fighter returning to the safe house, that happens. That action happens. So yeah, and of course, bottom line, this is a solo game, and I totally believe that the whole solo gaming aspect has its own domain of mechanisms, and this mechanism is, there's a few things. There is an AI event deck, I would guess, for them to go do their worker placement. There is a timer, because as in good solo games and good cooperative games, many ways to lose, one way to win. One way to win, finish your 2 missions. One way to lose, get to day 15, didn't accomplish the mission. Another way to lose, get all of your resistance fighters arrested. Another way to lose is town morale dropping to 0, because if you see on this time track, there's these orange background identified days. Those are interval days where the morale just drops. There are places on the board for you to boost your morale. There are rooms to help you boost your morale, but that is one of the clocks on the end of the game. And yeah, you've got 15 rounds to accomplish 2 missions. Let's get into some. Before I get into that, I want to add one more mechanism: the idea of variable player board or variable game boards. And I think that the ability to interchange 3 of these rooms with 9 different rooms that are connected to your mission. And here, I'll get you a little closer look on that, if I can. Oh, I don't think I can. There we go. So you have, informant that gets you more intel. You have a forger. Okay. Now, I might as well get to the unique mechanism of this game, and that is the ability to lose your meeples through the thematic connection to this game in regards to going through checkpoints, getting arrested. Now, part of this thematic nature of this game is you can see these. So one of the resources here is a pistol. Okay. You could shoot your way through, but what'll happen if you try to shoot your way through and eliminate one of the milices, which is basically milice is the French word for militia, and militia being non-professional soldiers, so common folk. Gunfights, you can eliminate them. Once you eliminate them, you move up this track. And what that tells you is that for the milice that you've eliminated, a soldier comes in to replace them, and they don't lose gunfights because they're very good at it. So there's that crunch that happens. And as you see, the closer you get, these intervals of morale days start to tighten up. So this game ratchets down pretty fast when you get to the end. So yeah, that's the uniqueness in regards to, and I said, okay, there's another way, is that you can have papers to get through, forged paper documents to fake your way through checkpoints to get back to the safe house. Once used, it's gone, and you have to go back to a room to get new documents with the resources, so on and so forth. But the time is clicking, and if it's not relevant to your missions, wow, you don't have much time to fool around in the decision-making space of this game. It's not necessarily that it's unique, but I like even in a small game like this, the ability to have a decision space to change these rooms in relation to the missions. To me, that offers another level of variability that you can propose strategically to your game, but the chaos that happens off of that patrol deck in regards to the spaces that you're trying to get to and the push your luck that happens in this game, there's tension in every moment. My conclusion, first of all, does this all connect? Absolutely. I mean, short of being a very kind of role-playing game, story-driven narrative, this, as far as the anxiety of that, as I mentioned, the patrol deck coming across, there's a lot of tension-filled decisions and moments to make in this game where you just don't want to flip that card over because it's just hold your breath moments. My conclusion as far as solo games go, it plays in 30 minutes. And if you're me, it plays even shorter. I quite enjoy this. This to me is a top shelf solo game. And for the reasons of the theme connects to the mechanism so succinctly that that's what creates the tension in the game. So yes, thumbs up, well done. And that is, as I said, show and tell, overview and review of Maquis, and hopefully 15 minutes, but I doubt it.